more people here this time than it was.
We usually have more than good. And I guess it's raining and then there's a funeral this morning. There's a funeral this morning. Oh, yeah. So folks are coming in. Saturday morning. So that we can get started. My name is Ramona Taylor Williams, and I'm Executive Director of Mississippi Communities United for Prosperity. Those who have been a part of this organizing effort, everybody knows who I am, so I'm not going into any of that stuff. We're going to open up with prayer, as we always do. This is cultural, and also acknowledge the land that we are standing on, the ancestral land, both for the Native American and the city in this area is the Choctaw Nation, and then also for our ancestors. So I'm going to turn it over to Brother Dion for him to open us up with prayer.
Let us all pray. This morning, Heavenly Father, we thank you once again that you brought us to this occasion. And we know that we're searching for resolutions, and we are asking in the precious and the mighty name of Jesus that you would give us the wisdom, give us the knowledge, and give us, Father, the cohesiveness to get this plan done. And Father, it's only going to be doing for the glory of you and the honor, Father, that's going to be given to you. Help us, Father God, this day. And we give you the praise, we give you the thanks, and all the glory and honor that's due to you. Amen.
So we're going to pass the breakfast, and we'll just fellowship a little bit until we get going. Our guest is supposed to, he's coming on at 10:30, but we do want to have some updates on where we are in this process, how we've gotten to where we are, and hopefully where we are going to go. So, let's go. Hopefully, more folks would join us. We sent out over 1,500 flyers in the community, and made phone calls and everything like that. So we're doing our part in order to get community engaged. It's Saturday morning, I know it's raining,
always left even for prayer this morning, so that who is in the space is supposed to be in the space. And so I want to introduce our Community Advisory Board that has been working so diligently and faithfully since July when we started this. And we started off kind of wrap things up when we had our first community-wide meeting. And I just want to acknowledge the CAB, because when we met in August, I believe, with Brother Omar from Charleston, South Carolina, who came, one of the things that he recommended, if you recall, if you were at that meeting, was that we form a community advisory board. And we immediately got on that. And on the community advisory board, there are representatives from the 4 neighborhoods, not the necessarily say associations, although they are affiliated with the associations, but the broader neighborhoods of the 4 areas that are being impacted by the flooding and the One Lake plan. So I am going to turn it over to Brother Dion, and so that he can welcome everyone and then talk a little bit about the CAS, the work that the CAS has been doing, and the communications working group.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning. And as Ms. Ramona just said, I know we all have one common goal here, and this is to address this flood issue. And I'm looking around, I'm seeing some faces that hadn't been here, but glad that you're here. And what we would like for you to do is to convey what you learned here today and the info that you get to to your neighbors that are next to you, so that way it can spread, from one person to the next, one household to the next. And this is the way we've actually been doing it. And this cab that we have here from these 3 neighborhoods, we have come together since last association's meeting with the Columbia students and with these new project that we have now. And we're trying to address the issues of what's really going on, what's really going to happen, in these 3 neighborhoods. And we know flooding is a big issue, because we can look at local flooding and we can look at the flooding that's just on our streets, and then we look at the major part, that the flood that's come from the river itself. So with that being said, Warren has done a great job. He has been instrumental in getting flyers, getting the signs, just bringing everybody together. Ms. Ramona, she has just been a godsend to us. They have given us a platform. When I say us, I'm talking about these 3 communities of ours, the 3 cities. They've given us a platform to where we can actually meet the stakeholders that are trying to invade our neighborhoods and do all kinds of things that are just incomprehensible and things that we can't even imagine. Because I know what's in the back of a lot of our minds is simply this: what's going to happen? Am I going to lose my home? What's going to happen to me? And nobody is here to tell us anything. I would look at our government officials, our local officials. They haven't done anything. They haven't told us anything. The last that I've known, they have told us that we should not worry about this, that, or the other, because nothing is going to happen. But we've got to be more hindsighted to that, because we know something is going to happen. What, we don't really know. And this plan that the Corps of Engineers is supposed to unleash, this is the second or third time that they put it back on the back burner and they push it, backwards and forwards. We don't know what's going on. So, with that being said, if you have any concerns, if you have any questions, we need to address them while we're here. If you have any pertinent questions that are in your mind, that the person that's going to be here today will be able, from the reservoir system, will be able to answer those questions. So feel free to ask any question. And when you come into this meeting with the CAB members, this is your time. This is your association. This is your neighborhood. This is your time to step forward. This is your time to voice your opinion, because guess what? They've always said that everybody has an opinion. And we do. Because you have a right to voice your opinion. You have a right to ask questions. You have a right to know what's going on, because guess what? You deserve better. We deserve better. It's high time that we got up, we rose up, and we did the things that are gonna be changing to us. I like my neighborhood. How many of y'all in here that live in the 3 neighborhoods really like the neighborhood? And we're going to fight for our neighborhood. We're going to do all that we can. Now, if I have to roll up my sleeves and get out here and do this and to do that, we're going to do it. But guess what? We're going to do it in the most appropriate and the most intelligent way that we possibly can. Because we want resolution. We want an answer, and those people that we have put in office, and I'm not ashamed and afraid to call their names, starting with the mayor, the supervisors, on up to the governor. We are going to hold them accountable. Why? Because they're the people that want to be in charge. They're the people that want to pull all the strings. They're the people that want to say this and do this and not do this and not do that pertaining to us. But guess what? Neither of them have ever been removed from their homes. Neither of them have ever had to stay in a hotel room, put their belongings in storage and things of that, and none of that. So with that being said, it is high time for us to attend these meetings, encourage your neighbors, encourage the people that are around you, because we need to know what these stakeholders are, what they are doing, what their agenda really is. And if we do that and we stay the course, I guarantee you, we can get through this thing. We will get through this thing. We're going to fight till the end. Ms. Rowan.
Thank you, John. I got to add that it's raining, so they're really active up today. I just would kind of like to get a feel of who is in the room. Many of you already know, but just for neighbors, to get to know neighbors, the neighborhoods you're in, the communities that you represent, and then we'll move more into giving the update on the where we are in the organizing and education process, because this is the one-way plan is a very technical plan, right? Community, we may not necessarily have the bandwidth to understand everything that is going on from a technical and a professional perspective, and that's why we're bringing in partners who have that expertise and the knowledge to guide us through the process, to educate us, so that whatever decision is made, residents make their decision based on the facts and based on the knowledge. That's what's important. That's our purpose and our goal here. So let's briefly go around the room, introduce ourselves. I understand that we have a representative from Congressman Benny Thompson's office here, and we're just so happy that you're here to take it back to the congressman, the work that we are doing and residents are doing in order to defend our communities, not only against the one-way plan, but the root causes of this flooding, which is, I believe, and the science says that it is directly related to climate change. So let's start here. New kid on the block.
Hello, I'm Pastor Robert West, and I live on the corner of Riverwood and Red Oak Park Drive. And everybody over there just called me the preacher. So I'm glad to be here. This is my first time being here. I'm going to thank LaFloyd because he's been coming to all these meetings and he's been telling me about it. And every time we have one, there was at a time that I couldn't make it. So today I could make it, and I am glad to be here. I've been on my way here ever since the first meeting. I used to go to the meeting when they would go there in McLeod School in the cafeteria. But I'm glad to be here, and I'm going to do all I can, and I want to save my home too.
My name is Greta McHarris. I'm a member of the McLeod Neighborhood Association. I'm anxious to learn more about what the plans are to rectify some of the problems that we're having in our neighborhood. Particularly for me, I have issues with the storm drain. Whenever it rains, I am dealing with water that comes up all the time in my yard. And more likely than not, it comes up, and gets inside my house. I've never been able to get any relief. I've always made all of the individuals who I perceive to be in power and have some authority to make some changes, they are all aware of what's going on. No relief.
Good morning. I'm Joyce Brasco Adams, and I'm from the Parkway Association, and I'm here to just be to learn and to do whatever I can to make the situation better.
Good morning. My name is Linda Crawford Poole. I live on Riverwood Drive, the backside of Riverwood near McLeod Elementary. I've missed previous meetings because I've been out of town and just couldn't miss it today. Just ready to hear what's going on and see how I fit in and what I can do.
I'm Sharon Page. I am a part of the CAB, and I am also here still to learn more, and especially the area that I stay in. I'm Candy Club. I'm always back there in the back area. When it rains and they say they're going to let the gates up, that's where you all come to see how close the water has came. So my house has been flooded once. The second one, it didn't get up to my house. It didn't get, well, it got up there to the house, but it did not get inside the house. But the first flood, of course, I got 6 feet of water inside my home.
My name is Doris Ellis. I live on Meadow Oaks Park, and I've been there for almost 21 years. So I've kind of seen the gamut of things. My house has not flooded since I've been there, but it's come really, really close. And I'm dealing with everything from the flooding situation to personal care homes in neighborhoods that probably most likely should not be there. You know, the drainage problem, people putting things in trash that shouldn't be there. I'm a retired nurse, 22 years in the state of Mississippi, and I love my neighborhood. I want to stay there, and I want it to stay nice and improve and get better. So I've been through several meetings, well, more than several, and I'm happy to be here today. Okay.
Hello, I'm the boy Latimer. I live on Riverwood. I've been there for 26 years, and I love my neighborhood. I'm semi-retired, and I want to stay in my neighborhood. I'm a little too young to start over again.
All right, good morning. I'm Angela Moore, and I'm from the Candy Club neighborhood. I'm here to find out what's going on. Find out what's happening.
Good morning. My name is Bernard Wilson. I live off of Beach Crest, and as the young lady said, I live off of the River Candy Club community. And I'm just glad to be here, and if there's anything that I can do or help, I'm at your service. Thank you.
Morning, everybody. My name is James Donaldson. I live right here on Parkway in the middle of the block, just past the church. I've been here for over 20 years now. And I know we're here talking about flooding, but you better have something else in the back of your mind going on once we deal with this. We have a lot of renters coming into our community. The folks speeding up and down these roads made our neighborhood very dangerous. But I want to say thank you to the people who are organizing us in our own communities. I'm kind of sad to see that there's not more of us from this community. But we start with what we've got. And I'm here to serve, to help my own community. Because I'm tempted to leave. That's how much has changed in 20 years. So whatever I can do to help make it better than what it is now, that's what I'm willing to do. But I really appreciate those who help organize this, who inform us about stuff we don't even know about. Because we got some sorry officials. Let's just tell the truth. And instead of us voting black, we better vote reform and get these jokers out of there. Get some folks
remarks I've already heard this morning. So Audubon is a conservation-oriented organization that really wants to ensure the best for the communities, and that the voices of the community have a seat at the table for these kinds of flood plans, and so far that hasn't happened. And we also want to ensure that the community gets the resources it needs to stop this recurring situation. So I appreciate being able to be part of this effort and support Free C1CA.
Good morning, my name is Andrew Whitehurst. I'm the Water Program Director for Healthy Gulf, GULF, Gulf of Mexico. It's a 5-state regional environmental advocacy organization. I live in Madison. I've been here for 25 years, came from Baton Rouge before. And I've been in the commenting process for the One Lake project idea. We went to meetings in 2004 and 2005. We started with the scoping process in 2013, and we put in comments and gone to all the meetings that we could. I've worked recently with Mr. Fernandez, who's working with Ramona. He helped our organization analyze the last round of One Lake project offerings that came from the Corps. We put in comments in June, so I'm here to learn and to try to support what's going on with your neighborhood groups.
Good morning. My name is Steve Garrett. I'm with Congressman Benny Thompson office.
Good morning. My name is LaShonda Pugh. I live on Melrose Drive. I am part of the neighborhood. I've been here, been part of this since the beginning, Ms. Ramona, since the beginning, and I'm learning a lot, and I'm just here to help how I can.
My name is Darrell Pugh. I've been here on Melrose for 15 years. I'm working with Ramona also and trying to learn a lot.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Wallace Jones. I'm an investor in the neighborhood. I have several homes there that I rent. And if something should happen, that my whole life investment will be down the drain. But I know that from studying and everything that the reservoir can be controlled. And whether people on the reservoir will control it or not, I don't know. I guess it's a lot of politics. But if they can let that water out when rainy season comes and get the water at a level where they can, when the rain really starts coming, that they could fill that level up and hold water back from going into the river. And I just hope, I would like to work with the people up there, the engineers and things, just see. Because when the rain starts, they should let that river stay right at the top and not in a flood level to keep that water out of the reservoir. Because that's our life right there. If we can just keep this from flooding, all this other stuff I think will be unnecessary. And I think it's important if it could be done this year, because it's too late now to start the other plans. So I hope everything could be done.
From the reservoir, and it was from the leadership of the reservoir and everything. It was because of your issues that you raised at our previous meetings, why we just thought that it was the appropriate thing to do to invite the leadership from the reservoir to come and answer some of the questions and to inform and educate us about how the system works. Because we need to know how systems work that impact our day-to-day lives. Right? So, appreciate it. I have heard so many things in the introductions that let us know that our issues that we need to address are beyond One Lake. Okay? And the reason why we pointed beyond One Lake, because One Lake is just one issue, but as we have had our monthly convenings and our monthly meetings, several things like the reservoir, for instance, have popped up and bubbled up. And that's a good thing, and that's why it's so important for us to come together, come together and share what we see as challenges and threats to our overall quality of life, but also together ideas, and share those ideas on what we can do in order to make our communities safer, make them more healthier, right? Make them thriving, and make them sustainable. So I don't know where Ron is. We've got on the agenda, we're going to do a quick update. For those who have been with us throughout this process thus far, you know that we have partnerships with Columbia University and also with Georgia State University. Columbia University, we are working with, we're in our second cohort of students. The first cohort is kind of like how all of this began and started coming together. We were looking at initially what's called a sustainability plan. What we thought at that time was just the McLeod community. We didn't know that it was 3-4 neighborhoods at that time. And once we got to engaging with the residents, the Pew, Dion, and other folks, when the students came and we did a tour of the community with Abby, the program teachers, and everything, that's when we realized that this was a broader effort. It included multiple neighborhoods, but those neighborhoods weren't necessarily talking to one another. So the first thought that we had was, what can we do, first of all, to get neighbors to talking across neighborhood association boundaries and lines? And that's when we came up with the concept that we needed to have a comprehensive communications plan. And so the first cohort of Columbia students, that's what they did. They developed that plan. And we announced the plan, or shared the plan with the broader community. We started out with a steering committee. The Pews were on it, Dion was on it, several other folks from the community were on it. And so they kind of knew what was going on, but the broader community also needed to know what was going on. So in July 28th, I believe it was, we held our first joint community meeting, community-wide, area-wide community meeting in order to share the comprehensive communications plan. At that meeting, the community unanimously gained consensus that they wanted to move forward, looking more deeper into this mystery and this mysterious thing called the One Lake Plan. I didn't know anything about the One Lake Plan. MCUP's work has been centered up in the rural areas in the Duck Hill community, which is where we initiated and piloted Achieving Sustainability Through Education and Economic Development Solutions, the SEEDS model. And that model focused on the small town that sits between Winona and Grenada that had been flooding for decades, absolutely decades. And so my husband designed the system, the water diversion system, and the town of Duck Hill don't want to flood anymore. So that's what we were thinking, that it was one neighborhood. We presented, I think it was last year in October at the McLeod Neighborhood Association meeting. We had some technical issues, so we couldn't get into our presentation. But since July, that is when we said, okay, community says yes, so what can we do in order to bring community together? Implement this communications plan, but also look at the One Lake Plan and the impacts that it's having, or potential impacts that it has on our communities. Since then, we have had 4 community engagements. We formed a communications working group, and the communications working group meets monthly. we came up with our theme, 3C1C, our partnership with PSU, Georgia State University students, the CIS and IT department. We have, students have developed a website. So we have the 3C1CA website that is very nice, and that's where all of the meeting notices and everything will eventually be housed on the website. Then we have we wanted, in one of the meetings, the residents shared that they wanted to know who owned what in the community. What were the how many homeowners do we have? How many renters? Who owns the property? Who owns our community? Right? So we have a cohort of students, and what they've been working on, and Juan is going to share that, an asset mapping project. On the Columbia University side, those students were here 3 weeks ago. I did a tour of the neighborhoods, did a tour of the community, did a tour of the Pearl River, a tour of the reservoir, and they have been working on a story map that is laying out the history of the flooding, who the partners are, and where we go from here. It is absolutely incredible. We are also working on a survey so that we will be able to get more participatory data around what our communities look like. And the last thing is they've developed a problem tree. So we've been making a lot of progress. We've made a lot of progress in a very short time. I am just amazed because from where we started in July to where we are now, it's just incredible, the progress that has been made with this organizing effort. So I am going to turn it over to Ron.
Hey. Ms. Ramona, I'm sorry, I think you were looking for me.
That's okay, you're fine.
Hello all. I think I've met most of you. My name is Juan Fernandez. I was not here for introductions a minute ago because I was the human wayfinding side. I found a couple of you around the corner. Very glad that all of you are here. And the main thing I wanted to cover was student projects. We have Columbia, one team from Columbia University, New York, 2 teams from Georgia State University, Atlanta. Their documentation is, I have not been able to put it up because I've been running around, but whenever we're eating after we have a conversation with Mr. Sigmund, I will have an asset map. So something that shows property ownership in the 39211 area code. It includes a list of the largest landowners, a classification of what's public property, private property. Some of the largest landowners in Northeast Jackson are actually private recreational spaces. So when I put that map up, I'd love it if you, as you're eating, feel free to come and ask me questions. I love to talk about the geography and who owns what in the area. Like I said, unfortunately, I haven't been able to put the documentation up because I've been running around, but I will do that, and we will have time to talk about it one-on-one or in groups whenever we're lunch and fellowship. Consider fellowship talking about maps with me. So I really I'm excited to introduce our next speaker. In every meeting we've held, we have questions that come up about the Ross Barnett Reservoir. And it makes sense. It is, my understanding, the largest structure on the Pearl River, and it is just a few miles north of us. So instead of us debating about, trying to, because we're not experts on the reservoir, we figured we would invite the expert on the reservoir. If you look at your pamphlets or agendas, you'll see his bio. I won't go over it, mostly because I don't have the pamphlet in front of me, and also because you guys can also take a look at it at any point. So, Mr. Sigmund, I do want to make sure that the volume works for him, because I know
I adjusted it.
It's good?
Yeah.
Mr. Sigmund, are you good?
No, that's a lot better, yeah.
Okay.
I can understand the previous.
Would you rather have a table and chair and sit down?
I can use it.
You can use that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
morning. I see a few familiar faces here, and some guys I've known so long that we won't admit how long we've known each other. But I'm John Sigmund, I'm the general manager of Barnett Reservoir. I want to tell you a lot of things about us. I want to give you a lot of information. I'm going to start talking about our governance, and hopefully, if you have questions as we go along, please ask them. Don't wait till the end. You might get that question, and plus it helps me to understand better what you're interested in. I was sent a list of questions. I'll try to get all those. First thing I'd like to start out with is, and I've only got 25 copies of my stuff, so you may have to share. I'd like to start out with, the first question was, what are we, who are we, and how are we governed? The Fur Valley Water Supply District is a state agency. I'm a state employee. Ms. Ballard, who is with me, is the director of our building and permit department. She is a state employee. We're governed by the State Personnel Board. We're governed by the State Fleet Management Board. We are state employees. As you see on the first page I handed out, we were established as a state agency in 1958 by an act of the legislature, and we are a body politic and corporate. What that means is we actually have the same authority and powers as the state itself. We are governed by a board of directors of 14 members. Those are appointed, those members are appointed, 5 by each of 5 counties that are members of the district. Scott, Lee, Pass, Madison, Rankin, they're appointed directly by the board of supervisors. There are 5 more that are appointed by the governor from a list of candidates submitted by each of the boards of supervisors. So that's 10. And there are 4 state agencies that have statutory positions on our board. Department of Wildlife, Fisheries and Parks, State Board of Health, Forestry Commission, and Department of Environmental Quality. And also that gives us some real good experts on our board. Usually those people are employees of those agencies, or they're members of the boards of those agencies. So we get some really good expertise on our board. I am appointed by the board. They hold my future in their hands. I serve with their will and pleasure. Also in the material I handed out is a list of the authority and powers of the Water Supply District. This is all from the state statute. It's all available on the Legislative Services website, part of the state website. We have a website. It's theres.ms. There's a lot of information on there. We try to keep it up. We try to keep it current. We've got such things as our land use plan, our map of the reservoir. We've got our audit is on there. Basically any of the information that we have is public information. If you want something, just call and ask for it. A little more about the district. We own approximately 50,000 acres of property. At any one day, 34,000 that's underwater. The rest is consists of about 10,000 acres of forest, which is open to hunting. We have a full-time forester on staff to manage the forest. We manage it for habitat and for revenue. We have about 4,000 acres of commercial and residential leases, and then we have about 2,000 acres of parks and campgrounds. Our sources of income primarily are lease revenue. If you own a house on reservoir property, you do not own the land. You pay a rent for that every year. And that's how the reservoir organization was set up to be self-sustaining. And we receive no general fund appropriation from the state. We receive no tax money. We receive no fees from traffic tickets and violation permits and things like that. We do issue building permits, and we receive some revenue there, and then we have 4 independent water and sewer systems that we receive revenue from. Primarily, that money stays in the water and sewer enterprise fund. And then we have forest income, which some years it's zero, some years it's $500,000. Just depends on what should be harvested at the time. We try to adhere to market conditions, but we don't let that rule. We harvest the timber when it's ready to be harvested. I know everyone's interested in flooding and high water. Just as a benchmark, I've got a map here that shows the 79 flood events. If you can identify your house or your location on there, to tell you pretty much what happened back in 79 at your location. Some of you may have been living there at that time, and you may remember exactly where the water got to. I remember coming here to the church, and just on the edge of the parking lot, out here, there was water.
Hey, I just want to let everyone know that, speaking of finding your location on this map, the asset or the property ownership map, I forgot to mention, also includes the footprint of this flood based on the same map. And so you'll be able to see it zoomed up a lot closer, and it includes property parcels, so that'll be a lot more helpful for identifying homes and streets.
And as I said, please ask questions as we go. The reservoir is a water supply and recreation facility. It is not a flood control facility. I know you've heard that said before. And I would confirm to you that the original legislation of the water supply district included the words flood control. It was not designed or built that way. Ms. Ballard can hand this out. It is an article by Horace Lester, who at the time was the state representative, but he also was the designer of the reservoir. And in that article, it will tell you that for a water supply reservoir, you want the lake full. For a recreational facility, you want the lake full. For a flood control facility, you want the lake empty. So the 3 uses are not compatible. Water supply for the city of Jackson being the #1 issue was decided to be the overriding factor. So that is why it is not a water supply, not a flood control lake.
Okay, I'm not quite clear on what you're saying.
Okay.
You're saying the statute says that that's what it is, but that's not what it functions as.
That's not what it was built, designed, or built, or functions as. That's right.
Okay, but then the authority that you have as an individual entity is based upon the statute, is it not? Which makes we, who will be constituents, would expect that flood control part to be a part of the mix that we would expect to have served.
That is
So
correct.
far, what you said sounds like you make your profits off of the benefit you are to the people on the reservoir and nobody else. Am I hearing you right?
People who build on the reservoir.
You said mostly what you make your money on is leases, right?
That's correct.
And so if you serve at the will and pleasure of the board, which is seeking to maximize the amount of money that it makes, that means that so far what you're saying serves nor benefits our community at all. Would that be correct?
Let me go a little bit further. The dam, the lake, cannot do something that is physically impossible. It cannot contain flood. We do work a lot to mitigate as much as we can with floods. And the way that we operate the lake and operate the discharges is geared toward that. We cannot contain large flood. It just can't be done. The reservoir has got a finite height. Our emergency spillway is at elevation 300. When and if the water gets to that elevation, the emergency spillway self-destructs, and we've lost the dam. We've lost control. We cannot regain that at any time within, say, 2 years to rebuild an emergency spillway. So as we do manage floods, we oftentimes can reduce the flood level in Jackson by a foot, and many times that is exactly what it takes to keep water out of people's houses. There was something in the write-up that I got about 2020 flood. In 2020, we had the lake down 2.5 feet because we were battling an invasive weed called giant Slovenia. And we dropped the lake in order to allow the frost to contact that plant and kill it, and also we spent a lot of time removing, burning, and so forth, those plants. So when the rains came in early 2020, we were down to elevation 296. I remember 300 is overflow. 300 we've lost. So that gives us 4 feet. We used every spare inch of that water to reduce the amount of flood that came through Jackson. I know a lot of houses got flooded that year. It was a lot of fewer houses than if we had taken that action. We would have 90,000 cubic feet per second come in, and to release 90,000 cubic feet per second into the floodplain would have been something on the order of the Easter flood. So we did not do that. We held it back. We held back 90,000 cubic feet for 48 hours. And I got on TV with the mayor, and I told the public that I could hold the discharge down for 48 hours. That gives you time to evacuate, floodproof, whatever you got to do. And after that, I've got to release the water that's coming in. So that was about the maximum discharge that we had. Yes?
So could you help us translate? So I understand that the reservoir held 90 cubic feet per second of water. So how much would that translate to feet or inches around here? So some folks, I believe, in the lower parts of Canton Club had several feet of water in their homes. How different would that have been if the reservoir had not been lowered in 2020? Is that something that we know?
Yeah, we got some more handouts, it's got that information, but the river level in 2020 went to 36.7. If we had not taken action we had, it would have been well above 38, 39 feet. And that's a critical point in the floodplain here at Jackson. And I've got some data on that information here a little bit later.
What's the lowest you could have had the reservoir and still stay operational prior to the flood? Because it sounds like you only had it low to suit yourselves once again to deal with that invasive plant.
We had it low.
How much lower could it have been and still remain operational?
Our normal operation is, before that was to keep the winter pool at 297.5. After the 2020, and we saw the benefits of that, the board of directors decided to draw the lake down to 296 for the months of December, January, and February, which is when we have our heavy rains. The water supply issue is a paramount issue. And if we drain the lake, we have not got enough water to supply the city of Jackson. So we're very cognizant of draining the lake. From 296, 295 is as low as we can drain the lake without having structural damage to properties and marinas and things that are on the lake. Now, that's our mode of operation. And certainly we can draw it down further. We can take it down to 276. That's the elevation of the spillway, bottom of the spillway. Of course, we would have a serious situation concerning Jackson's water supply, and we would have a lot of damage on the reservoir itself. Yes, ma'am.
What percentage of Jackson's water supply
Okay, what percentage of Jackson's water supply comes from the reservoir? Technically, the O.B. Curtis plant and the Jage Fuel plant are supplied from the reservoir. The fuel plant draws its water from the lake, from the river. Curtis plant draws its water from the lake. So anytime, it depends on how they're operating the plants, but anytime 25 to 50% of the water from Senior Jackson comes directly from the lake through the Curtis plant. The rest of it comes from the Jage Fuel plant and the Southwest well systems. The well systems supply about 20% of the city. So that tells you what we have there. That article is, I'm passing out now, is an article by Brian Broom, Clarion Ledger, and he talked about an interview we had concerning why we don't draw the lake down in advance of storms. Yeah, we could draw the lake down to 297.5 in the summer, and if we saw a big storm coming, yeah, we can draw the lake down. I will tell you that to do that, to draw the lake down based on rainfall predictions, is a very reckless way to operate a reservoir. And my colleagues at the Corps of Engineers have confirmed that, and they will echo that. What happens is, as it did today, the storms are coming from the west, and you'll see they split around the city of Jackson. Some of them went to the west, and a lot of them went to the south. The heavy rains are on the south. More times than not, the rainfall predictions that my friends at the Weather Service give us are not accurate. Sorry, that's the way it is. So the way to operate a reservoir is when you get water on the ground, then you know what you got, then you can react to it. And we've got rain gauges and river gauges all the way upstream, all the way to Philadelphia, on past there, tell us what's coming. So rains that fall at Kosciuszko and Philadelphia will get here in about 2 days. That gives us time to react. So that's why you don't draw the lake down in advance. It's a hazardous thing to do. Yes, sir.
And with all that being said, it sounds like good management, and we're not saying that you're not doing that, but with going through all these procedures, how much stress does it put on that lake? Because that's one of the biggest concerns, overall concerns, because if that thing ever goes, then, God forbid.
Yeah, and I've got some information on that too. The dam itself is sound. The dam, like I said, it can go to 300, and the emergency spillway activates. The dam's at 305, so there is some freeboard above that. The rise and lowering of the lake level does not place a detrimental effect on the dam. It's quite sound, it's quite secure. By the way, it's made out of Yazoo clay, which is the only beneficial use I've heard of for Yazoo clay. But it is waterproof, it doesn't leak. Now, you see the canals below the dam? That is water that has come through or under the dam. Those are not just scenic byways, those are actual collection devices, and we monitor those, we measure those to see if there's any changes in the flow.
Mr. Second, question?
Yes, sir.
Good question. The flood of 2020, I just fish out there on the reservoir quite a bit. And I just never figure out why you guys was playing with that water to kill those plants, because I'm not an engineer. In some countries where there fishes out there. And what I noticed was when you guys did lower the water to kill those plants, it put a lot of water in these communities. After that water was placed in these communities, that's when the rain came. A whole lot of rain.
Yeah, that's a hazard. It definitely is. Many times I have held back increasing the discharge for a day until the local creeks in Jackson have had a chance to empty. If I bring the river up, there's no place for those creeks to go.
Is there any modeling that you guys do before you release that water?
Yeah, we have a computer model developed by the Corps of Engineers that helps us decide on the discharges. By the way, anytime we have a flow in the river of over 30,000 cubic feet per second, we initiate a conference calling system where the Weather Service initiates a call, and it includes the Corps of Engineers, MEMA, us, Hines EOC is often on it, and many times you see Jackson is on that call. And that's where we review what the river flow projections given by the Weather Service and by the Corps of Engineers. We compare those, and we decide at that time what is to be released for the next 24 hours. Now, in the end, the decision belongs to the Pearl River Valley Water Supply District. Those other agencies are advisors. They've got, frankly, world-class experts. They know how to predict river flows and how to gauge the river. And we take their advice into account, and then we decide how to discharge. And if I propose something that's outlandish, they'll tell them right there. They'll say, no, wait a minute, you need to consider this or this or this. One of the things I have to consider is the rise of the lake, of course. And as I said, we cannot store water past 300 feet. Many times the downstream communities, Monticello, Columbia, and so forth, say, you need to hold it back, hold it floodplain. We can't. We're doing everything we can do. It is a situation that is not the best, but that's what we have.
I have a question on the communication between, you have those internal communications with your partners, the Corps, and all of those folks, and all of them. However, what their communications approaches with engaging with communities that will be impacted by the discharges, so that if you can make those lower the river or do the discharges, but community can prepare. So we're also looking at how do we make our communities more sustainable? How do we make them more ready and prepared in the event of a disaster?
Okay, everyone hear the question is what kind of communications do we give on the information that we've developed and decisions we've made? After every one of those conference calls, we issue a press release. And if you're not on the press release distribution list, you can be. All you got to do is send your email address to comments@vres.ms. Again, that's our website. And we'll pick it up and we'll put you on that distribution list.
What was that website again?
Right
Excuse
after
me?
the meeting. And we'll cover the next 24 hours. We get predictions of river level from the Weather Service. They have an organization in Slidell called the Lower Mississippi River Forecast Center. That's all those people do. They make river level predictions based on rainfall and rainfall predictions for the next 48 hours. They're good. They have a building full of statisticians, computers, the best stuff in the world, and they can use them very, very accurate. So if my press release says the River Jackson is going to 31.5, that's based on their prediction of what we have proposed to release. Yes.
Could you give us that email address again to sign up for press releases?
Yeah. It's called comments@vres.ms. Or you can call me.
And what we'll do is,
Give me your address.
I'll also put it on our Facebook page, just so people can go there and see it again.
We also have other methods of communication that we use. One is called the put notification system, where we get anyone who wants to give me their cell phone address, we'll put you on it, cell phone.
And it's called Put PUT.
It's the put, I don't know why they named it that, but it's put notification system. PUT. You can request to be on that. At the same time, you request to be on the press release distribution.
Did you ever answer the question about what the lowest level is that the
Yes, sir.
reservoir can be
The reservoir
maintained
can
at?
easily be drawn down to 276.
So 276 and it's still operational?
Sir?
276 and it's still operational?
Yes. It can be drawn down that far. It never has been. If we do it, would be scary, at least. I mean, really scary.
But so what's the lowest operational level?
Normally, it's operated at 297.5.
That sounds more close to the maximum.
That is.
Where's the median between the lower and the maximum?
The lowest we'll draw it down on a routine basis is 296.
Yeah, you're saying what we will do, I'm asking you what's possible to still stay operational. You're saying 300 is too much, 96 is where you're normally staying at. So it sounds to me like they don't leave us much playing room to mitigate extra water coming down at one time.
Now, 276 is the crest of the spillway, so it can be, if you open all the gates and leave them open, that's where you'll be.
Can I ask real quick, because I think there might be two slightly different questions here. For yours, so you said it would be scary to have it that low. Is it possible to give us a summary of what would make it scary to have it that low? What damages might occur to the
The
reservoir?
things that I would consider is what is the effect on the dam? You asked about that. You draw it down that low, then you've got water in the dam, in the dirt, is going to relieve itself. Is it going to do it in the form of slides, or is it going to be migration through the dam and cause erosion, open up holes in the dam? Also, we'll have all the seawalls, piers, pontoons, everything on the lake's going to be on the ground. And there's a lot of damage there. And I understand that you're concerned about damage to your home. I understand that. I live with that thing 24/7.
But how long does it take? How long does it take for that water to seep out of the dam? You know, we only talk about, January, February, and March. You can't hold it down near that. So you have more space when the rainy season comes.
We could.
You can hold
Could.
it.
Exactly what I'm thinking.
We could, but that's not the operational mode that we have, and it's not my instructions. I can do a lot of things on home, but I can't violate our operational rules. And I would predict that we would not draw it down to that level because of the impending disaster of the dam itself. Oh, I'm sorry.
Question for you. Have you actually tried to lower it that low to see what it actually would have, the actual effect of it?
New Year, it's never been lowered that much.
So
that would make everything you're saying speculation if you've not seen it happen.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But isn't there, what he's trying to get into, where's the median, you know?
Exactly.
Where's the
That's
median?
the
So you
worst
say, well,
case.
we don't want to go 276,
What about
and we
280?
don't want to go 300, so where's that median that during the rainy season, you can say we can comfortably operate at 280, at 285, and give us some room for this,
Back when we,
for 3 months?
back when we were considering lowering the level to battle the giant Sardinia, we had a public meeting at the reservoir, and it was almost, I had proposed to go to 295 at that time. And it was a large contingent of people there who said that was going to be very damaging to them. And granted, they were most of the ones that lived on the road. It was going to be very damaging to them. So our board decided not to go with 296.
But it sounds like you're going back to the point that I keep stressing. You're concerned about them and not us. And I understand what I'm saying. It's a two-sided coin. We're concerned about us and not them. But now I'm saying, where's the medium where us and them are both okay? Because when they said it's going to damage their stuff, you stop. And when we're seeing the damage on a regular basis, it's not a consideration to the degree that their feelings are concerning their vested interests up there.
I understand.
And then when you go back to that charter that talks about that flood control being part of this whole makeup, is being ignored for the benefit of that district without the consideration for everybody who's the recipient of that mitigation that happens.
All right, and my response to that is, what damage would occur to the damaged stuff?
But you're saying, you're speculating, you've not seen it.
I have not seen it, no one has seen it, and I'm speculating based on the engineering principles that are in place. Let me go on a little bit to, I was asked, how does Barnett compare to the 4 Corps of Engineers flood control lakes in North Mississippi? As you probably know, there are 4 lakes taming some of the rivers coming out of the Northeast Hill, Parker Butler, Enid, Grenada, and Sardis. And I've passed out this one piece of information here that shows, and Sardis is the largest. Sardis has 1,500,000 acre-feet. That's water standing 1 foot deep over an acre, which is about a football field. Barnett has 140,000. It's a factor of 10. Vertical storage on a good day, Barnett would have 4 feet. Sardis has 45 feet. That's how the Corps of Engineers, when it starts raining this time of the year, around Oxford and Sardis and Como, they just close the gates. And they hold it all back because that's the way those lakes were built. That's the way the topography of the site of the lake will allow them to do that. In terms of drainage area, Sardis has 1,500 square miles. Barnett has 4,400 square miles. In other words, Barnett's got 4 times the drainage area over which to deal with runoff than Sardis does. So, in looking at that alone, you can say it is not a flood control lake. We do everything we can, and we'd be remiss if we did not do everything we can.
You just said that it's not a flood control, what was that?
Barnett is not a flood control lake.
Because in looking at, Enid, Grenada, and all of those, the way that they're structured, and they, they have the side channels and all of that, why did they just throw the reservoir, and didn't do it the way that they did those other lakes? Because remember, that dead lake that's off on the side, I used to fish up there a lot all the time too, and that lake has been dormant now like for years, and it's just a pit that's just sitting there, most of the time when that water is up and it backs up in there and everything is covered up in there, and look like to me if they have a structure that canal a little bit more better right there, that would kind of help some too. So why did they just leave it the way it is now and not try to develop it when they can work it out? Why? Just give me an
The lake that you're talking about is part of the emergency spillway, drainage way for particularly Enid, Sardis. Our emergency spillway is on the very east end of the dam. You remember where Rapids and the reservoir was, and the big parking lot there? That is the floodway for the emergency spillway. That will carry the water should the emergency spillway fail. That is the channel, relief channel for Barnett Dam. If you look at the topography of the floodplain where Barnett Dam is, that dam is as high as it can be without having to run those levees all the way to Patchie. Sardis, Enid, all those have much sharper topography. They're in valleys that allow the kind of rise in the lake that we're talking about, 45 feet, and it can still be contained. There's a lot of information out there that you may not be aware of. The Weather Service has websites as well as the U.S. Geological Survey has websites that contain a lot of information about Pearl River and Barnett Reservoir. What she's passing out now is a picture that I took yesterday or Thursday of the site for lake level. It shows you what the lake level has been over the last 5 days, and you can articulate and get over the last year. That information is there. It shows you exactly how we're operating the lake, and what we're doing. Everything we do is in the cover. Back in here is another site. It is a representation of flow into and out of Barnett. On the left in blue is the flow that has occurred. On the right in black is the flow that is predicted. And these things are produced every day. Every day. People in Slidell put this out, and that's how I look at what's coming into the reservoir and helps me decide what to send out of the reservoir. And I've also included behind here sites for Highway 25, which is the one closest to you here, and the next one is Jackson on Highway 80. We operate the lake based on the flow on Jackson. One on Highway 25 has only been in there a couple of years, and it has yet developed as a prediction site, it's a recording site. Now these sites, there's a long link for these sites, but again, those links are contained on our website. At the bottom of the page, you see the bottom down there, there's links, you click on that, and then you go down to it, and you see river flow projections. That information is available. We used to have quite a lot of phone calls to the tower, and fishermen wanted to know what the lake level was, what the river level was. But since these sites have come online, that's pretty much cut out that traffic because you go look for it yourself.
Now, what would happen, when you release that water during the rainy season, not just during the rainy season, where it's done flood season? If you kept that river right up to the river bank, can that be done through those months? Cause that ain't, Jackson still getting plenty of water, would that cause flood control down the road, down the river?
To do that, you'd have to make sure that there is enough water coming in.
But this is during the flood season time.
Right, and
you know
oftentimes it's there, oftentimes it's not.
And if you can lower that about 6 inches above the dam, that means if you get a big rain, you give us 6 feet more, and you should
We
be
have
able to
more storage space, that's exactly right. It's a tightrope, it is a tightrope. If I release water based on the projection of rainfall, and that rainfall does not occur, then I have done 2 things. I've endangered my ability to supply the city of Jackson with drinking water, and I may have caused a flood unnecessarily downstream because I opened the gates wider when it wasn't necessary.
But during that season, we never be bothered with having enough rain. January and February, we always have it. There's never rain. Sure, not like this summer. See,
The summer,
and you can help us out a lot.
So I just have a question. What role does the reservoir play in the One Lake Plan, if any?
One lake plan. What is our involvement in one lake? Our involvement in one lake is 0. None. We have asked them questions, and they have not responded. We've invited them to come talk with us, and they have not done it. We have some serious questions, among which are, how that one lake, if it's built, how is that going to affect the operations of the reservoir? Because we can, as you know, better than me, we can release enough water to overpower that thing in a matter of hours. And so if you've got all this real estate development around there that's depending on that lake being nice, calm, and suddenly I'll raise it by 20 feet, what does that do?
And that's the key, those are key words that you just spoke. Real estate development. Is the One Lake Plan more a real estate development plan and strategy? Or is it an actual
state or is it more flood control? And I'll have to give you the political answer. I don't know. I don't have enough information to evaluate that, nor am I going to step on that game plan. At some point, I think the reservoir is going to be embroiled in quite a controversy there, but it hasn't come yet.
Who owns the property that conversation is being had about? You mentioned how much land or acreage your district handles. You're saying none of this property considered for that plan belongs to y'all?
That is correct. We own land about 400 feet south of the dam. That's as far as we own land. I've got a map here, and it's also on our website, that actually shows, it's a honey map, but it actually shows the reservoir property, the property that's owned by the reservoir. Our authority extends only to our property lines. We do not have authority to influence the one lake, that's for sure. Yes, sir.
My basically first time here, but I came here because I was told that our houses, this is my first time here, and I'm here because I was told that we were going to have the struggle was going to be buying up all these houses and converting this over to reservoir property and things of that nature. And I want to know, you know, is that true? Is this what you all trying to do? Are they trying to take this land from us? Secondly, I want to know, I heard you saw the board members came from Rankin County and Madison County, but I never heard one from Jackson or from Hines County. And so I just want to know, speaking, you know, for myself, you know, are they really planning on taking these houses? And are they really planning on us selling our houses? Or are we going to have to give up our homes?
The reservoir is not going to buy any of that property. The reservoir doesn't have anything to do with that. Now, among the mitigation measures that you'll see discussed in the One Lake Plan, and I haven't had a copy of it to read, but I went to the public meeting, one of the options is to do exactly that, buy all the houses and the property and just let it be flooded, let it be a flood plain, like it was originally. The reservoir is not involved in that. We're not buying any property. We're not increasing our property. We've got 50,000 acres. I can't tell you that. I don't know.
So there's second a lot of rumors that have been going around, and I might be able to help sort out some of the information. Like Mr. Sigmund said, there is this One Lake Plan, and it's one of several proposals that are out there for relieving floods in the area. There is a separate plan, or was a separate plan, to buy out all the houses that flood. But there, in addition to that, the One Lake Plan, because it doesn't touch all of the homes that flood, so a lot of the homes that flood would still flood, maybe less severely. The feasibility study that was published, or released in 2018, says that the One Lake Plan has, if it's what they decide to build, because there still would be flooding in Northeast Jackson, that they would propose a buyout program. That would, to me, imply that the organization that's sponsoring the project, the local one, which is not the reservoirs organization, they would have to make some sort of, they would have to work with the Corps of Engineers or FEMA to install that buyout program. Does that help maybe with, yes, and that's actually a very important thing. It would be a voluntary buyout program that they would propose if the One Lake Plan went through. So you can keep your home, but it's like a, asterisk, caveat, it's still going to flood.
And I think it should be made very, very clear, that our group, we have not put out misinformation. Anything that is said and communicated is what has been taken from the Army Corps of Engineers 2018 draft environmental impact study. This is in their plan. This is what one of the options or maybes that they have included. So I think it's a little bit premature at this time to even be thinking or talking. Of course, it's always going to be in the back of our minds because we know what usually happens and who are the targets and who end up usually losing on these kind of issues, especially since it is more or less an economic development motive behind it. But when it comes to that time, if it comes to that time, we can't say anything because we haven't seen what the new draft environmental impact statement or study is going to be. Right? So, but I wanted to be clear because I do know that there has been some information that has been sent out by some elected officials and everything like that, indicating and alluding that we are presenting misinformation, and that is just simply not the case. It's false, and I will defend our work to no end because I know that what we do, it is rooted and grounded in research and the facts.
Okay. You also asked about representation from Hinds County on the board of directors. There are two. One appointed by the Board of Supervisors and one appointed by the governor. The governor's appointment has been vacant now for 8 years. The Hinds County appointee was made 3 years ago, and that gentleman has failed to come to any of the board of directors meetings.
We need to know who they are.
Yes.
Who that gentleman is.
That's Dr. Williams from Clinton. He's a physician. And as I said, the other one, the governor's appointee is vacant.
So in other words, we don't have representation.
Right now, Hinds County doesn't have representation.
Not surprised. And see, this is another reason why it is very important that we all come out to meetings like this, so we will get true facts and not he said, she said, they said, because I don't operate like that. This is one of the reasons that Can Club, that I'm concerned about my neighborhood, back to the river run, all the way back up to the front where the waters have actually come through and flooded homes. And I want to make sure that my neighbors and everybody in there know what's going on. Give them the true facts and let them deal with it from there. And it's been a lot of hearsays. They said this, said, and I remember before the CAB was even formed, how the news media, they were out and they could only tell what, basically what they saw. And my thing is, I would go up to the reservoir and spillway and monitor, for myself so I would know. And the creeks that are surrounding us, those creeks, when it, like now, they're at a capacity really now. If rains came in here and got us, we would have some, low-line flooding in our area. But my thing is, I want to make sure that they know what's going on. And the ones that can't come out, true enough, I understand that. But we always try to make sure that we contact one another. We make sure we know what's going on because we know something is going to happen. We may not necessarily know exactly what's going to happen, but something is going to happen. And we have to be ready for this. And we seem to get no help from in some neighborhoods, our associations that, that are there. And I mean, nothing, against them because that's another fish that we'll have to fry later. And my last question is this, Mississippi. In the flood of 22, we stood right there at the bridge in the back of our neighborhood watching the waters just come as they came for the flood of 20. And we were just so distraught because all we could see was just the gushing waters coming towards us. And within an hour or so, after just standing there watching this, all of a sudden, guess what the waters did? They stopped as quickly as they came, as if somebody had pulled a drain plug, and all of the water that was there, it receded and it just went away as if it was never there. And my theory was that the gates were closed. I may be wrong, you probably can tell us, at the spillway, because all of that water that was up from the Pearl River up north in Tyler County and all that had come into the Pearl River and dumped it to the reservoir. So the waters that were already here on our side were already high at that capacity. So that water was pushing that water back up to flood our homes again as we stood there and watched. Then all of a sudden that water stopped, it split, and it went backwards, and guess what? It was gone just as quickly as it came. We were amazed and glad that it happened because that stopped the flooding right there. And what did the reservoir, did the spillway have anything to do with that? I'm not that we're blaming you, but I'm just asking, what capacity, did the spillway play in that?
Yeah, I remember it was on radio, or with TV, that the reservoir said they were gonna hold back more water. And that's when that water stopped coming up. Cause they said it was gonna get about 12 inches higher than what it did. And when they said we can hold more water back up there at the reservoir, that's when it stopped. It didn't go no further.
Don't blame me for the water getting high, but thank me for the water going down.
Right.
That's exactly what happened. And as far as I know, there was one house that flooded in 22, Ms. Robinson, and she called me and thanked me that it didn't get to 4 feet, it just got to 1 inch inside the house. That's what happened. We got to the point with the inflows, and we got to a point where we could begin to reduce the amount of water being released. I saw that the lake, or the river at Rattler Ferry had peaked, and although the river coming into the dam was still rising, we knew that the peak was coming within 12 hours. It's about how long it takes to get from Rattler Ferry, and we started reducing as much as we could, and that's exactly what happened. And you're right, rumors run rampant. People just, I can't tell you how many times somebody's called and said, I heard the dam broke, what are y'all gonna do? Right. Well, if you get a rumor, call us, we'll respond. And we love to go to meetings like this, even though sometimes the questions are hard. I always tell like it is, and I always tell exactly the truth. But the lack of information oftentimes breeds panic that is not necessary.
You said, like, I don't have to worry about selling my house.
That's a decision you'll have to make.
Because if I don't sell it, it could flood.
I can't advise you on that.
If they want to die, I gotta let them sell it, because if they don't flood it anyway.
I would predict that such a buy program is not gonna be all. I would predict, and I'm stepping out on something I shouldn't, the One Lake plan will go through.
You know, one thing, you said it wasn't built for lake control, right? I mean, for flood control. But you made that decision and it didn't flood. Now tell me that's not part of being flood control.
That was flood, I call it flood mitigation. We were doing the best we could do. Now, if we'd gotten an inch of rain on top of that, it would be a different story. And my address would probably be somewhere in South Carolina right now. The next thing I'm handing out is our newsletter that we put out about 4 times a year. If you flip it over and look on the back, there's a QR code, and that's where you can get on the put notification system. You take a picture of the QR code and do what your phone tells you to do, and you're on the put notification system. Because we have real estate holdings in Rankin and Madison.
Okay, so that put is dealing with real estate holdings.
No, it's because that's where the customers are at.
Okay.
We have customers in Madison and Rankin County. We have very little property in Madison County. And although it is very important, Madison County is very much impacted by the reservoir. That's why we just did it that way. Now, I signed up for both of them, so I can hear. That's a good thing to do. It would be something like this morning, or yesterday morning, excuse me, it was Spiller Road's down to 1 lane. And then an hour or 2 later, I said, well, that wreck's been cleared up. We also put weather events, and that sort of thing over. What else?
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
I know you said that our reservoir is not used for flood control. Well, essentially it can be. It's just not. What can be done to modify it? What would it take?
First comment on your statement, we just talked about the flood mitigation issue, took care of, and we do routinely take the peak off the floods through Jackson to the degree of a foot, half a foot, something like that. So oftentimes, that saves houses from flooding. If you look on the last sheet of this thing, look there for the Jackson gauge, it gives you elevations at which different areas of the city are impacted. Next to the last page. Next to the last page. It's got a list like 33 feet, Rosemary Road is closed, Sydney Street is impassable. 33 feet is one of those big parts that we try never to cross. 35.7 feet water is entering homes in northeast Jackson. We don't want to get to that. 43 feet was the flood, and it was, as you know, major damage. So that's a good indication of what this is levels at the Jackson gauge on Highway 80. Use that as a guideline of where we're trying to keep water from getting to you. Yes, sir.
I'd like to know, when and if the Corps of Engineers plan to address and let us know something, so we're not blundering around in the dark. And how do we get in touch with the Corps of Engineers? Because we don't want to wait till the last moment and then start to react.
To know something on
What their plans are, what they're going to do.
I can't answer that question either.
Can you answer as to how we can get in touch with them, so that we can ask them that
It
question?
is, the review of that plan is being done at the Vicksburg District.
Right. Well, we are in touch with the Corps. I'm going to let Jill talk a little bit about what we're doing with the Corps.
Okay. So the Vicksburg District is where it's being housed, and you just have to call over there and get to run around until you finally find somebody to talk to you about. As you know, they announced they ran out of money, so they're not doing any more work on it, so that may be the answer you get. Unfortunately, when you have that size of bureaucracy, sometimes you get that.
Now, one thing, would it help the reservoir out if they built up that other 2 lane that's going east, fill it up? Wouldn't that help support the reservoir and give it more power to help, help in flood control?
Yeah, Mr. Jones, let Jill answer this gentleman's question.
Okay.
And then we'll.
Thanks, Ms. Vaughn. So, I guess as part of my introduction, I maybe didn't share that I'm working with Ms. Ramona as well as Andrew and others in the room to be in touch with the Corps. We've been working for the last 5, 10 plus years. Some of us have spent parts of a lifetime on this project. And so we're working to ensure that when there is information to share, that it's set up in the neighborhood as soon as it can be. And also, once we have those documents, look at them, use our technical expertise, and bring in some other experts so that we can share what we're finding in all of that paper. Because ultimately, that's going to have an impact on what happens next. But this is a great opportunity to learn. We're taking advantage of this kind of delay that the Corps has given us, right? To learn about the options, to really strengthen what we think is a better path forward for the community, and to make sure when there are public meetings, that the folks here are informed, can attend, and bring your voice to let them know that this is not going away. So we need to make sure they're investing in that they're investing in the right things that help people's lives and livelihoods and their property. And we, Audubon, for example, knows it's not the one-way project, so we want to make sure that there are other resources brought in, which is why we're working closely with Ms. Ramona and others here.
To answer your question, what can be done to change the operation of the reservoir? It takes a vote of the board of directors. They have to tell me how to change the rules. That's what it takes. And to get them to vote on that, it's going to take a lot of lobbying, a lot of contacts, letters, phone calls, visits. It'll take a lot of contact to get that done.
You can't do
So
that
that's
without
the worst thing you
representation.
could do.
I mean, you can't do that without representation.
We don't have representation on the board, but I assure you, the representatives and senators and the governor can, with a moment's notice, impact that board. So, that's your way into it. Get to your political operatives, your representatives, senators, and get them to start making that known.
I have one more question before we close. Preparedness is very, very important in order to protect our communities from flood. So, since the reservoir is a key player in the flooding issue in the community, how can communities work in partnership with the reservoir to look at solutions, whether it's temporary solutions, what can we do to better the line of communication in order to lessen the vulnerabilities and increase the resilience?
Yeah, I think to have, an organization's a good start. This is a really good start. There's power in numbers. I think to get your legislators more aware of your concerns, more aware of your problems, it's a good start. That's the way to go with it. I've got one more piece of information I'll hand out. We do have an emergency operations plan. Part of that plan is a prediction of flood levels if the dam fails, and under which scenario the dam fails. In other words, if the dam failed in the '79 flood, we might not have noticed it because the water was just about even on both sides. This covers situations such as a dry day failure, where the river's down in its banks, and certainly you have a dry day failure. And it also covers other situations where the river's out of its banks, in the floodplain, and you have to set up. These inundation maps were prepared for us by Schnabel Engineering, which is one of the leaders in this kind of work in the United States. So look at that and see what you can find. See if you can find your location, your neighborhood, see what it shows you. But I will tell you that my likelihood of failure of the dam is very, very low. Not just because I happen to work there, but because that thing, it's not a pyramid. I mean, it was built in 1960. And we spend a lot of time maintaining that thing and protecting it from environmental damage, erosion, all that sort of thing. It is well maintained. It's going to last a long time. But that's just the information that's available in terms of what happened in the floodplain if the dam failed. Now, besides the fact that your house might flood, the picture painted there is not nearly as severe as the rumors and the panics would have you believe. In other words, the eagle on top of the Capitol is not going to be treading water. It is a bad situation, but it is not going to wipe the city of Jackson off the face of the earth. It may take all the neighborhoods represented here, but it's not going to be completely and utterly disastrous. The second disaster is FEMA when they come in.
Yeah, that's my primary issue, talking about that, lower roadway that goes across. Now, if you put that up, would that substantially increase the power of that dam, or I would say at least 45%?
The question is what the building up the Royal Road impact the dam. Unless you took it higher than the existing dam, it's not going to have any flood control benefit. Now, when that road was built, it did add weight to the dam, and it increased the ability of the dam to resist hydraulic forces on it. It was a good thing. We're going to try to get the traffic off the dam, and we're designing a 4-lane road below to get that traffic away, because the traffic does have a detrimental effect on the dam. The vibration of all the vehicles, it's got some effect, and as you'll see, you look at Hoover Dam and all those things out west, they're working steadily toward getting the roads off of their dams. And we're hoping to do the same thing, but it's just gonna take $200 million. So we hope to get some money from Congress and some from the legislature. That's a long-term thing. You got the inundation maps? Yes, sir.
Do Rankin County and Madison County have a problem with Jackson Hole?
Not as severe, to some degree, Rankin does flood some, but Madison County by and large is above dams, so it doesn't really have flood impact from very little, very small portion of Madison County is in the flood. So, that's the way God made the dirt.
That's the way God made the dirt, that's the way man made the reservoir.
The reservoir was cited with a lot of things in consideration, and the location and the topography was certainly one of them. But the ridge line that runs between the Big Black Basin and the Pearl River Basin is basically a Natchez Trace. And so that is where, I mean, I can see the reservoir from where I live, but I'm in the Big Black Basin. It's that close. No, not really.
So how often does it flood out on the area of the reservoir, where this beautiful homes are?
Not often. Not often, but I flooded in 2022. I told our operators, when the lake gets to 298.5, we're gonna have to open everything. And the lake got, the lake, I said 298.6, and the lake got to 298.5. So we got real close, but that was putting water in the streets and Palisades. Didn't get in the houses, but it got in the streets. Other questions?
Do we have any more questions?
I just want to say thank you. I know I grilled you a lot, but I really appreciate your candidness and your informative information.
Thank you, I appreciate that, and I appreciate the questions. When I get good, hard questions like that, we're communicating, we're getting information.
If we got 2 or 3 people together, can we come down to talk to you every so often?
Sure can. My number's in the phone book, well, they don't use those anymore. But, give me a call, I'll be glad to meet you. You go out and look at the dam, you know.
That's what I would like.
We'd like to go to the control tower, which is manned 24/7 by the way. And, it also serves as police dispatch, as you know, we have our own police force. They patrol public parks and public property, patrol neighborhoods and such. But yeah, we can go out there and look at that thing, walk on the catwalk, and if it flows really up, vibrating, shaking, it's a good trip.
Can I just make a comment? I echo your sentiments, thank you so much. But can we, before we disperse today, can we try to come up with some type of plan so that we will have representation? The representation that we pay for with our taxes, with our votes, on those boards, so we can talk about a plan to get somebody's attention, the governor and the board of supervisors.
The governor's got one appointee, the board of supervisors
Yes.
has an appointee who does not serve.
And he doesn't live in Jackson, he's in Clinton, according to what you get.
I think we should, sorry, I just kind of jump in here, but we know that one of our supervisors is aware of our organizing efforts. He's responded in some strange ways, like sending out text messages when we're canvassing. I think we need to address him directly. He's in the decision-making process here, and clearly the person that he and the other supervisors is failing his responsibilities. And I think we need to apply pressure to Mr. Graham and anyone else who might
We
represent.
need to agree to write a letter of some sort and let everybody sign out,
Yes.
something. We need to agree to get that done before the end of December.
Yeah.
Pretty much the board of supervisors will let the supervisor whose district reservoir property is in appoint that person, and it was Supervisor Brandon appointed, not the board.
Huh.
This has been wonderful. Do you have any more questions before we close out and?
I still have one more question, so I can see. How come the government is not affording someone to not stop the question?
You have to ask him that.
Because this was, he's supposed to do it, right?
Well,
That's the whole work is the board supervisor gives the bill on this 3 years. Frankly, don't always work that way.
ignoring this area.
Yeah, but what he's saying is that's on us, the homeowner. We've got to get in the faces of our legislators.
Hey everyone, so glad you came, and please stay, eat, keep chatting, but I do want to make sure everyone has signed in. It helps us keep track of numbers, and it's very important to keep this, these talks going and to keep us organized. And also, please fill out this post-meeting survey. Tell us what you think, help us make this better, and that's all I got. Thank you.
And let's give this some of the hands. Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, I was waiting at Yolanda.
This has been wonderful. This has been wonderful. I'm just so pleased, so pleased.
And y'all invite your neighbors.
Yeah. So we got the infamous soup. We didn't do oxtail soup this time, but I think we'll be pleased. And so, Patrick, would you mind closing us out in prayer? Okay, awesome.
Let us bow our heads in prayer. Bless our soul. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for having attention, please. I'm in church and I see people talking and stuff. So can I have your attention, please? Can I have your attention, please? We are fixing to dismiss. Bless the food with prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the food we're about to receive, and we thank you for the meeting that we have just attended. And we just pray, Lord, your blessings upon it in the future. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Nothing further. Meeting is adjourned.
You're not part of the